So, my second video on this channel, if you look back at it now, is my top 10 favorite anime, part 1. And there never was a part 2, unfortunately. So, since, as you can probably tell, I've been using February to fulfill what I felt was left behind in my channel's early days, it was only right to correct the score and give you guys the top 10 anime I promised, because honestly that list wasn't even accurate to my thoughts at the time, and certainly isn't accurate now. But before we start, I would like the anime version of me to give you all a quick message. This video is entirely based on my opinion. Opinions are things that people think with varying amounts of factual basis, or even no factual basis at all. Everyone has a unique opinion, so please be respectful, not just to my opinions, but also to everyone else's, and in return, I will respect you. Just because we disagree doesn't mean we have to fight, okay? Now, on with the video. Admittedly, most of this list is going to be nostalgia based, as I watched a lot of anime both knowingly and unknowingly when I was young. And Bakugan is a perfect example of this. For those unaware, Bakugan is kind of like a mashup of Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon, where people battle their toy Bakugan, and there are special cards that have a variety of effects. I was so into this show, I begged my mom to buy me the corresponding toys, which had magnetic cards that the toys would stick to like in the show. And the toys would pop out of their little balls, and it just blew the mind of kid me. And now they've made a reboot of it that I have intentionally avoided watching because I refuse to admit I'm old enough to have seen the original and the reboot. One of the few anime I found on my own accord, Assassination Classroom, is built on a relatively simple premise. A mysterious alien referred to only as Koro-sensei is only killable through special means that don't affect humans, and for some random reason has decided to give a group of high schoolers a chance to try, but only the class. So the series goes on as the team slowly become more and more skilled as assassins, and the teacher continues to educate them as if he were an actual teacher. The series has a lot of great comedy, but also a lot of really cool serious moments, and really shows how these characters are progressing as the episodes go on. You may call me a simp, but the first time I watched this movie was with my girlfriend, who was the one to show it to me. Basically, this movie shows the progression of a young boy who bullied a deaf girl, growing up hating himself for what he did, and as a result, pushes everyone else away until he eventually has a chance reunion with said deaf girl, and the two grow a budding friendship and later romance that shows him that he's not the bratty kid he once was. The movie's not for the faint of heart, though. There's a couple cases of, attempts at, ending their own games, we'll say. Another show in the vein of Bakugan, Beyblade was also a show a younger Austin got obsessed with and wanted the toys of. However, this is definitely a show that the show was far better than any of the toys. Basically, in the show, they use these top-like things called Beyblades, which each have a unique power, and they battle them by having the two Beyblades clash until one stops spinning. And this is yet another show they did a reboot of, but again, no interest because I'm not old, okay? I'm not old! This one has the most interesting memories alongside it. The show itself was really great though. Ever since I was young, I've been a Sonic fanatic, and I did it all. I thought up Sonic OCs, I made my own stories that looking back are very much equivalent to fanfiction. And I, of course, played every game I could get my hands on that had Sonic on the cover, no matter the quality. Funnily enough, I initially found Sonic X when sneaking onto the TV at like 4 in the morning, because I just woke up that early. And every night after that, I would try and catch it again and never could. Eventually, I watched it all on Hulu though, and honestly, I wish they would have made a game out of the Sonic X story. It was far better than any of the stories we've seen recently. Hopefully, Sonic Frontiers will change that, but I don't have high hopes. I got some history with this one. According to my mom, I watched this movie when I was a baby, but since I was a baby, I don't remember that, so I didn't truly watch it and remember it till I was like 13. And I adore this movie. It's also the only Ghibli movie I've watched so far. Please don't kill me. I promise I'll watch more. The first anime I discovered completely on my own accord, and at my local library, where I would continuously borrow as many of the 3-episode DVDs as I was allowed, and rewatch them constantly till they had to be returned. This little doggo demon boy is very nostalgic for me, though I never bothered to try and find it in full to rewatch it yet. I forgot to put it in the script as Inuyasha, by the way. one first to the next, Bleach was the first anime I watched that I knew was an anime. I say that because obviously before this I had watched Pokémon and Bakugan and those sorts of shows, but I never realized they were different from the other cartoons at first. Bleach, however, was introduced to me by my older brother, who had the first few seasons on DVD. So I binged, and binged, and binged. He had up to the point that they saved Rukia, at least then. I don't know what he has now. But regardless, I really liked it and still like it. And I'm really hyped for the final chapter coming out this year. I need to rewatch it before then. Lucky Star is the most recent addition to the list of anime I've watched, and it's really nothing too special. And that's exactly why I like it. It just features a group of 4 high school girls as they make random observations about the world and culture around them. And I find that super cool. Just a nice chill show. Admittedly, this one may be so high up due to recency bias, but either way, I think it's good, so it goes where it goes. Chiradura was the second show I found on my own on Netflix, and it was very different at the time for me. For the most part, I stuck to action shows, like the ones you've seen mostly dominate this list. And to this day, I still don't quite know what drew me into this show in particular. But I do know I love this show, and I get the urge to rewatch it every single year around Christmas time. Hence why I wanted to do an Everything Wrong With, or as I now call them, sarcastic review, on it for my Christmas special, but well, that didn't quite turn out as planned. But Chiradura is a show that has stood the test of time for me, because every time I rewatch it, I only enjoy it more and more. And just like when I first found it, I still don't know why. That's just the mysteries of the mind, I guess. But now that you finally know my full list, why don't you tell me your top 10 anime or even just shows in general down below? And while you're down there, I would love it if you subscribe to see even more of my content. And last but not least, if you want to take your support even further, you can check out my Patreon, where the lowest tier is only $1. And with all that said and done, I hope you all remember to stay awesome.